This is TV18 and you're watching CNBC TV18.
One of the biggest hits of 2013 is Mohit Suri's Aashiqui 2. Made on a budget of 10 crore rupees, the film has on last count crossed 100 crore rupees at the box office.
Just go away!
Apart from a chart-busting music score, the film had none of the frills considered mandatory for a Bollywood blockbuster.
यार मजाक नहीं होता.
लेकिन मेरी जिंदगी है.
No big stars and no high decibel publicity. That now is pretty much a given when it comes to the producers of Aashiqui 2, Vishesh Films. Now, in its 25th year in the industry, the banner has perfected the box office success formula of the starless film. Music, sex and pacy plots substituting star power. On the A-list today, brothers Mahesh and Mukesh Bhatt tell us why they work outside the star system and how they are a parallel movie-making force within the industry today. Thank you so much for both of you for being on the A-list. And to start out with, it's been 25 years for Vishesh Films and you've given yourself a really good anniversary gift because Aashiqui 2 is one of the biggest or the biggest hit of the year. So that's a good anniversary gift to give yourself.
Yes, I think Aashiqui only screams out and proclaims to the world that these guys are still relevant to the times that we live in. I mean, this journey which I began 40 years ago has delivered innumerable hits to me, but when it comes in the new dawn of the second decade of the 21st century, it makes my resolve to go further even stronger. And what is very important is Aashiqui has come to us on our terms. It is made with rank newcomers and it has done business which has outdistanced the business of many movies which have got bigger budgets and bigger stars.
Heartening to know that on all the newcomer films made, so now in India, we have broken all records, including Student of the Year. So that was
which was a much more expensive
much
film than
more,
yours.
4 times the cost of ours. That was a 40 crore film and ours is 10.90 crores. So that's 4 times our cost and we have crossed that figure. And as of now, Aashiqui 2 is the biggest hit of all times as far as newcomers go in India in 100 years. So that is something really satisfying.
But are there films that you've lost money on, given this very economical sort of box office model that you followed?
No, it's not that we have not lost money, yes, but very few. Our strike rate has been as good as 80%, I would say, because I always tell my people that they can never plan a hit, but they can minimize their losses. And we work in real budgets. We know exactly where, because whenever the creative team, I'm handling the dirty part called money, and he spearheads the big picture of the company. He's the creative fountainhead of the company. And I always tell them that all your creativity has been put in economic packages. That's very, very fundamental for us, and that's what we do, and that's what has made us successful. All our creativity is there in economic packages, and that is the mantra of Vishesh Films.
So in the context of this economic package really, Bhatt Sahab and Mukesh ji, what do you make of this whole thing of the 100 crore film, which is something which has obsessed the entire industry? What is your take on that, given the way you have packaged your film?
I think it was a media construct. You need to give a section of India the feeling that the Indian movie industry is now moving from strength to strength. So you project a dazzling figure and you don't question how much investment went to come into that 100 crore club. The return on that investment at times is barely 3 crores or 4 crores, or in fact many of them lose money. But they get this projection of belonging to that elite class of 100 crores. I think it's a kind of a hype which has harmed the trade much more than done it good, because it creates bogus aspirations. There are movies which are made for half the amount of those 100 crore club, and they do 3 times more money, make more money. So there is nothing like a 100 crore club.
Like you said, as someone who's dealing with the dirty part of the business, the money part of it, being part of this 100 crore club is not an aspiration, clearly?
Not at all, not at all. Actually, I'm a real man. I look at real numbers. And in business, what we talk about return on investment, ROI, that's the most fundamental thing that's needed to be looked at. You know, our job is to manufacture glamour and not to become a victim of it. We should see that you're investing X amount of money and it should give you profitability. And that is the only way one should conduct yourself. I don't know, people tell bullshit figures, which, sorry to say, I'm not taking names, and they're not in the movie making business, they're in the bullshitting business. You know, first tell lies and start believing in those lies. We are here called the real players who are in the movie making business and not in the trading or bullshitting business.
If people would like to believe that they are the blue blood and they are the Brahmins of the trade, well, good luck to them. But I am absolutely comfortable in holding the space which I occupy.
When it comes to your positioning in the industry, you know, you have the studios, the mainline, the banners like the Vishesh Films, the new entrants like UTV and the others, and then there's you, which has made these this volume of films, but you're almost perceived as this almost guerrilla organization, you know, which is on the sidelines and not really in the front line, even though you have a huge success rate. How do you deal with that?
It's none of my concern how I'm positioned. If people would like to believe that they are the blue blood and they are the Brahmins of the trade, well, good luck to them. But I am absolutely comfortable in holding the space which I occupy. And all that I know is this, that durability is the litmus test for any brand. And if one has invented one's kind of cinema in every decade and just delivered one of the biggest hits with the rank newcomers, then it should shame those people who think that they are superior in terms of, we aspire to be thought leaders. And I think if you look back from the 80s, 90s, even the last decade, every decade has sparkling gems which have been produced by us. If 80s had an Arth, had a Saransh, had a Janam, had an Aam, had a Daddy, then the 90s had an Aashiqui, Dil Ka Manta Nahi, Sadak, Hamera Pyar Ke Sa, and the 21st century began with Raz, with Murder, with Jism, with Jannat, Gangsta, and the beginning of the new decade began with the most amazing 3D hit called Raz, which has almost touched 100 crores, and now Aashiqui. Now, if this staggering performance of ours doesn't make those who claim to be the moguls flinch and envy us, then their self-critical faculties need to be kick-started again, and they must be made to look at themselves and the world with saner eyes.
What distinguishes you from the moguls, to quote you, is the fact that you don't really subscribe to the star system at all. Is that contributes to your VFM, your value for money, doesn't it?
Like we always say that we are not only in the movie making business, we are also in the business of making destinies of people. And that is the most satisfying thing that we both brothers have achieved. From the year 2000, when we entered the new millennium, we said that buying a star is more expensive than making one. So let's go and make, and I take a great pride. Imran Hashmi or a John Ibrahim or a Bipasha Basu or a Kangana Ranaut, name them. Our directors like Anurag Basu, Mohit Suri, Kunal Deshmukh, name them. They have all emanated from Vishesh Films. So we are also in the destiny making business. We change lives of a lot of creative, talented people. What more can we ask?
But also, you know, a critical component of this success, so to say, not Aashiqui 2 has changed that tide, has been what people call the erotic thriller, you know.
Yeah.
So, in a sense, did you like substitute stars with something else that works equally well, sex?
Certainly. I think there was see, a man who made Arth and Saransh, which became kind of enviable products, set up great high standards. The man moved consciously and designed films like Raz or Murder, the erotic thrillers. That was because India had changed. The post-liberal economy changed the Indian landscape. And I think what is called erotic content, one need not be so embarrassed and ashamed as though one did something very sick and perverted. No, we made films with pride, with our head held high. We got them scrutinized by the Censor Board of India, got a legitimate certificate, and consciously chose the tag of erotic thrillers because there is a room for that kind of cinema. And the box office figures scream out and say that they contributed to our clout and gave us the economic independence. The kind of money that we have made in the last decade has been phenomenal, and thanks to the erotic thrillers. But then, having peaked with it, we had the intelligence to say enough is enough. Now let's go back to the past. Past forward was the mantra. Let us reinvent the romantic you genre, because the times are clamoring for a change. And so we did not only respond to the environment, we initiated a change. And Aashiqui is a you film, which is a phenomenal success. So those cynics, oh, these guys make it with and they do it only with erotica, need to sit down and take a look at us again with fresh eyes and fair eyes. Try delivering a you film with rank newcomers and deliver figures like that. The day you do that, I would stand up and give you a standing ovation.
Since you've reached your peak, are you now headed more towards films with a U and a UA certification? Is that the plan now?
The basic fundamentals of market is what? You don't give them what you have, give them what they want.
Okay.
I feel the mood of the nation is to have pure romance, something they're done to death with so much of crime happening, so many rapes happening. They want to have a sugar pill, they want to feel good, and that's what the nation is wanting, and that's what it's so obvious when you see the staggering collections of Aashiqui 2. You know, Aashiqui 2's collections, even in so-called B and C grade centers of UP, where only a Salman Khan films ever made a kind of an impact, Aashiqui has broken records of a Damang over there. Why? Because it's one from the heart. It's after a long time, people have come and told me that it's ages where we have cried in a film. We have stopped making films where people cried. So that's what it has done, and I feel that's what the nation is asking us to do.
But does it also now make business sense? Because given the kind of restrictions satellite channels now have on viewing of, you know, the kind of controversies that you've had on viewing of adult films, does it just make more sense to make U and UA films?
Yeah, but I think much before this kind of diktat crept into the cinematic space, we had kind of made that turn way back, almost a year and a half back. And yes, I think anybody who's myopic and kind of cancels out in the very beginning the possibility of showing his product through satellite is shortchanging himself, and I think that would be suicidal for us, because we work without stars. For us, that revenue model is important. The satellite is a major piece of the pie.
When was the turning point really, when you decided that, okay, enough of stars or working with, with stars or mainline films? And when was the turning point?
The year was 1998, after I had finished my directorial journey. I turned 50 and I said, enough is enough. I got a national award, Ajay Devgan got a national award, and I had made a very relevant film, relevant to the core idea of India, which kind of screamed from the rooftop that if India needs to stay rooted to the reality, it will have to follow its secular credo. And with that, I said to my brother, let's make movies which are without stars, because we all talk about self-sufficiency. We all talk about independence. Let us become heroes instead of leaning on heroes. Let us not use stars as crutches. Let us give ourselves legs, and it may take us a little while to get there. But we did make a disastrous, according to the world, a disastrous move. Not only I had given up direction at the peak of my career, I had also kind of written this kind of motto on the wall that we won't work with stars. My brother had some apprehensions in the beginning, because he had dealt with money, because he had to do the job of selling it to frightened distributors. But I think he had faith in my vision, and slowly he began to see that there was wisdom in it. Slowly we emerged as brand leaders, because with Raz and Murder and Jannat and gangster. Suddenly the world started saying, only you guys can do it. Then a lot of Me Too products started coming. People started emulating us. And I think that was a moment of a departure from the earlier path that we were taking.
But it must be a relief for you. I mean, I know earlier you were concerned when this started. It must be a relief not to be hanging around waiting for star dates.
If you ask me, these are the best years of my life after 2000. You know, success for me is nothing but living life on my own terms. You know, after a point, money is important to an extent, but not the ultimate thing.
And now you made enough of it.
And I'm very happy. I'm making money on my own terms. What more can I ask for? That is the most satisfying thing. Today, we make a movie when we have a script which inspires us, makes me as excited as I was when I was making my first movie. And I like to jump out and say, let's start it tomorrow. And we go and start it tomorrow. We don't have to wait for some star to say, okay, now you wait in the queue for 6 months or 1 year, and then I'll give a nod and then there will be sunshine. No, we go ahead and make it.
And at the end of the day, history has no footnote for anybody of us. So we play the games the way we like it, on our terms. Sometimes we win, often we lose. But since we have been overproductive, our performance has been spectacular because we have given more films, so our success rate is also more.
80%, I would be very clear.
But does cinematic history only recognize commercial success?
Of course.
Only?
What else?
I mean,
ultimately it boils down to
the
that. Let's be
ultimate
honest.
metric in life is of money. That's what the market forces say today. So I think the mass entertainment medium always understood only one rule. It's ultimately the number of tickets you sell, the eyeballs you get, that determine whether you are on the top of the heap or the bottom of the heap. That's the reality. We have adhered to it, and we have fought within that parameters.
But in today's times, when you have filmmakers like Anurag Kashyap or Dibakar Banerjee, there seems to be this perception that there is scope for a different kind of film, which you've already made long back. So does that change your point of view?
Even their films have to deliver numbers. If they don't deliver numbers, they won't get money to make another film. Whether they deliver numbers or they can seduce stars. Having dabbled with that, I choose to walk on this path. So I have oscillated between the two poles. Let them try to do that. If they don't want to do that, that's their prerogative. But just because I have moved from one to the other, and you say that man is free to do whatever he wants, don't have disdain for me. I have been on that side of the road for too long. Now I choose to walk on this side of the road. It's not the man who invented the wheel that really made the market move. It is the man who created the other three wheels that made it move. So I think Mukesh Bhatt has given my creative spark wheels.
Many years back, when I was a cub reporter with CNBC, and I was constantly coming to the two of you for sound bites on different issues of the business of films, because at that point it was gaining. So when I would come to your office, it was a study in contrast to Bhatt Saab's. It was, you had all number of religious deities. I could see you praying, and he had, books on philosophy and all of that. So in terms of personality types, you're totally different. You're very religious, God-fearing. You're an atheist. How does it work?
See, because I handle the checkbook all the time, so I need gods to help me to manage the checkbook. He doesn't need to do that because he's a, fly Robin fly. He's cruising in the air all the time. He has the creative freedom to search and fly as free as he wants to. We have managed to do a perfect balancing. It's like the cup and saucer. He is the cup, I'm the saucer. If you take out the saucer, the cup falls. But what is the saucer without the cup?
It's not the man who invented the wheel that really made the market move. It is the man who created the other three wheels that made it move. So I think Mukesh Bhatt has given my creative spark wheels. I left to myself, I do not have a way of monetizing it. I don't have the skills to monetize things. It requires another craft, another skill, another discipline, and I don't have it. I have realized that my worldview is limited. That's why I could remove myself from the landscape and say, I have become an obsolete film director. The time is now for new people to sing their song. But a person who has the vision to realize that he's obsolete is alive. There's something alive in me which says that a new dawn is here. There is a new age which is singing its song. We will give those songs, take those songs and serve them to the people of the India.
And what is the new dawn saying? Your son is has directed a film, Vishesh. There's Mohit, Suri. There's a bunch of Gen Next is here of Vishesh Films. So it's in safe hands.
Well, I feel very happy to see how Mohit has blossomed into a beautiful flower as a director. Vishesh has done a very good job in his first film. He's created the impact that he knows his job. And also, I'm happy to know that he has done that in working in a real budget, because that's what was my concern. That
You've said real budget 50 times now.
yeah, because that's my concern. That's my concern.
Yeah.
I don't allow this kind of madness of of pampering. See, a producer is a father to a film. The director is a mother to the film. The film is the baby.
And
The
that's
father has to. He's sometimes behaves like a mother because he's a creative fountainhead, and he cites always the creative. The only fights we have is because of that. Because when I become a little strict, I start making noise when they're going a little haywire in the budgeting. He shouts back at me. I'm protecting them because that's the mother's instinct he has.
Yeah, but you see, the point
He's
is...
very impulsive because he's the mother.
You see, the thing is, the greatest creative act takes place in the womb. The womb is a prison. It's not a landscape which has got no horizon. It has limitations, but within that womb you find life kicks. So those fights that he keeps on talking about is like the child trying to kick the limitations, and that is the nature of life. It kind of fights any kind of being caged. But yes, what he says is right. The limitations are a reality, and I don't think that if life can be born in a womb in a limited space, so movies need to be created in a limited space.
I think therein lies the difference. He sees it as a womb. You see it as a profit and loss statement. The balance sheet.
I'm
that
a
you
real
need
guy.
You're the real guy.
I have no choice but to see ground reality. I have to do the rupee and paisa calculation all the time. If I lose my eyes from there, I'm in trouble.
Yes, and therefore it's created this synergy which has given us this very successful box office franchise. So thank you so much
Thank you.
for being on the A-list.